How many trucks do you have?
I have 3. 2 are mobile. 1 is a stationary unit down in North Miami.
And what's your approach on getting people to go to that stationary location?
Sales, advertising, food influencers.
Who works for you?
Majority of my staff is family and friends. Most people would say, "Ooh, don't work with family."
Collaborating is important in when you're an entrepreneur.
Oh, most definitely. You have to network. The biggest thing is networking.
What's the customer favorite thing on your menu?
If I don't have anything else, I have to have company.
If someone wanted to start a food truck, what advice would you give them?
Start off as a tent vendor.
So tell me what inspired you to start the food truck?
In 2017, my brother passed away.
Hello, welcome to BiZconnect, where we dive into the journeys of business owners exploring their humble beginnings, triumphs, challenges, and their exciting path ahead. I'm your host, Annalyn Carter, and today I have a very special guest with me, Qualice Ellington. Qualice, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. I'm really excited to dive into your journey, right?
Me too.
Okay, so Qualice is the owner of Popo's Seafood. It's a food truck, right? And she's gonna talk about her journey and when she gets started. So let's start with telling us about your humble beginnings. Are you a native of Florida, Miami?
So yes, I'm born and raised here in Miami, Florida.
Okay.
Even though my company, we specialize in seafood and wings, but a lot of people always ask me, "Hey, do you have a Bahamian background?" I do on my mom's side.
Okay.
But it's funny, I didn't learn anything from my mom. At least not when it comes to what it is that I sell on my truck.
Okay.
I learned everything from my dad, who is a true Floridian. He taught me pretty much majority of everything I know and how I became this far.
All right. So your dad is a big cook.
He's not a big cook. He's a huge entrepreneur.
Okay.
And I would say he is a hustler.
All right. So that's where you learn about entrepreneurship and okay. So tell me what inspired you to start the food truck?
So in 2017, my brother passed away. And he was the one who kind of motivated me to even start a food company, to even get into vending, because my dad originally, he started. So
Okay.
he used to always bring us around, make us come, learn the ropes. And honestly, I was excited. I actually enjoyed going out to the festivals with him, learning tricks, just watching him and sitting back, just watching him do his thing. And he loved it. So then eventually I learned to love it. So my brother, he wanted us to start back that family business to where we started going back out to the festivals, because eventually my dad, he kind of slowed down. And he ended up passing away. So I just channeled that energy into something positive. Instead of moping and crying and not knowing what to do, I figured out a solution. Okay, just let me channel this energy into this business, because he was going to invest into it as well. And we both love money. So it's like, okay, yeah, I know how to cook. You know what? I'm going to just name it Popo's, and Popo, I'm going to show you how to make this money. And I just feel like he's watching over me.
So Papo's was your brother's name.
Yes, it's my brother's name.
Okay. So that's what inspired the name of the food truck.
Yes.
Okay. What inspired you to your cuisine that you have? I know that you said that your dad's Bahamian, so what inspired you to choose that particular cuisine?
With my dad company, he specialized in, I call it a snack bar. For me, it's a snack bar because it's fresh fruit. It's nothing hot. Everything is cold. Conch salad, dressed conch, fresh fruit. So when we started vending, we took that same concept, because originally I was actually working under my dad's name. The goal was to expand his company. Okay. That was originally what the goal was. It was to expand his company. So we started vending underneath his company name, and we took those items, we started to sell them. It actually started to work. Like, we actually seen gross sales. Like, we were shocked. Like, we literally just one day woke up on faith. And then eventually it started to slow down. So I tried to figure out what can I do to make more money. And someone asked me, "Hey, why don't you fry conch? You sell conch?" And I'm like, I was scared because I didn't want, I felt like that was just a whole nother challenge. Like, wow, I'm already selling these items. Already have so much work. And we started off as a tent vendor, so it was a lot of work. And then eventually I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go buy a smaller deep fryer. And we started to play around with it and it worked. We started to bring in more money. I realized people would rather pay for hot food than pay for a snack.
In the beginning, you were just vending, right? When did you decide to get the food truck or expand from vending into the food truck?
Honestly, it's still considered to be a food vendor.
Okay.
No matter if you're a pop-up tent
Okay.
or if you have a mobile unit. We're still a food vendor. It just depends on what it is that you have.
Okay.
So in my company, we're able to do both.
All right.
So what pushed me to get the trailer, and it's a funny story, right? Tent vendors is much harder. Like I said, it's way harder. When it rains, when it storms, and we're already out there set up, like we have to deal with that versus a closed unit to where all we do is just close down our windows. And the last strike for me was we were at a football game. Before the football game started, it stormed, and we were a tent vendor. It stormed so bad to where tents started to fly across the field. And my little cousin, she actually works with me now. Back then, she was still in high school. She's so petite and small. She jumped up and grabbed it. And the tent went to flying with her. We had to jump up, grab the tent, bring it back down. At this point, I'm pissed off. Our grease went bad because water went into the fryers. Everything got wet. So majority of stuff I had to toss. And then they canceled the game.
Oh, wow. That's like scene out of a movie.
Listen. And me and another one of my vendor friends, he was still a tent vendor at that time. And we both looked at each other and said, that's it. We can't do this no more. And we watched a food truck close their window.
And that inspired you to, you're like, you know what?
Yes. That inspired me. And I remember that story to this day. And I laugh about it now, but they closed their window and we were just all looking at them like, oh, Lord, this is why we need a mobile unit.
So you got your mobile unit. Do you remember around what year?
The mobile unit, I would say roughly around 2020.
Okay.
So when COVID hit, I became very, very, very discouraged. Everything shut down. My company, we had nowhere to go because we specialize in vending. So with that being said, events, festivals, pop-up shops, no one was hosting anything. I had to quickly figure out a way to bring in income. I literally had to start selling food out of my house to start somewhere. And it worked. It actually worked. And I wasn't pretty much selling what I sold on my truck.
Okay.
I had a soul food. And then I'll mix it up the following week. Okay, we're gonna do these items that I sell on the truck, the proteins, and then we're gonna you can choose between fries or I have these sides. And
I would say that's a good pivot.
Right. It worked. And I said, okay, you know what? I can do this. And my mom, she was like, nope, we're not going to do this. What we're not going to do this. You're not going to give up. You have came so far. We're not going to do this. You have gotten into some of the biggest festivals, and other people's, they can't get into these festivals. So you're going to give up now? And when she said it like that, I was like, you know what? You're right. And she said, do you need money for this truck? And I was like, no, I actually don't. I'm going to go look into it, and I'll let you know. And then they said the trailers were cheaper. Oh, it's going to be roughly, my first unit was $32,000. And I said, oh, I can pay for that. Okay. And I ended up getting my first unit in 2020.
Having COVID, you pivoted from cooking at home, right, and then your mom encouraged you to say, you know what, you've been doing so well so far, you're going to get back in the road, right? So I realized those were some challenges that you faced in the early beginnings,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. And now that you're back on the road, I want to talk about, like you said, that you started getting into events, right? As a food truck owner, right? How did you get into these events? What steps did you take, or like what are some of the steps that you took in order to get in some of these big events?
Relationships. They always say you have to know the right people, right? So I began to network. I began to utilize people around me, learn to know who they know, and how could my company benefit off of that. I have this little saying where I feel like, and I don't want it to come off wrong, but I just feel like, when you're friends with people, you guys should benefit off each other. It doesn't have to be financially, but in some way, shape, or form, like you should be able to benefit off your friends. And if you can't, I don't even really want you around me. Like, no, because I already have a lot going on. So that's one of my big pet peeves. Like I have to be able to benefit off of you. You should be able to benefit off of me, and I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna make sure I hold. You need me to hold your hand? I'm gonna hold your hand. You may can't cry on my shoulder, but for the most part, yeah. So I was able to utilize that, start going to networking events. Because in the beginning, this is not my first company. My first company, I was shy. When I say real shy, you couldn't pay me to say anything. I was the cook. If you ask me about food, then I have something to say. Other than that, can you go talk to my sister, please? I was just that shy. And I had eventually had to learn how to step out of that box because then me and her part ways. I was the face of the company now. I had to learn how to just step out of my shell, communicate more with people. And it took a while. I'm still learning.
Okay.
I'm still learning. But it was worse. When I say it was really bad, it was bad.
Yeah. So collaborating is important in when you're an entrepreneur.
Oh, most definitely. You have to network. The biggest thing is networking. Yes, you can go on Google. I still Google. I still Google. But right now we're about 9 years, almost 9 years in the, as an entrepreneur, as a food truck, not even a food truck owner. In our business, we're 9 years old, and it took a while. In the beginning, it was a little shaky. So I used to forget things, and my mom, my mom, she's like, no, get a journal. Get a journal, and I want you to write down everything. I said, everything? She said, yes. From inventory, how much staff you had, how much you had to pay the staff, how much you had to kick out. I even want you to keep notes and write down in these notes if it was worth going back to this event. And if so, should we keep the same amount of inventory? Should we increase or decrease? And that was one of the best advice that anybody can give me. And once I started to do that, I was able to now create a calendar. Every year, the calendar, I watched the calendar. My calendar started to get fuller. I was able to go back and kind of repeat the events. Okay, let me go back. I did this. Yeah, I did
And
this
see what
one.
worked.
Yes. This one, maybe I can give this one a try again. And that really worked for me.
All right. So walk me through a typical day of a food truck owner or as a business owner.
A typical
Yeah.
day.
What's a typical day like? Because you mentioned some stuff that you did. So what's a typical day? I get up. What's a typical day in your business looks like?
Let's say we have a big festival.
Okay.
A typical day would be starting with the day before. Not even the day before. Let's start 2 days before. We have to pack up. So we get up, make sure that everyone is in place. I still to this day, I still call them and make sure that they're in place. Like, hey, we ready to go, we ready to rock and roll. And I understand that things happen. And we get up, we start to pack up, make sure that we go over the checklist, that we have everything it is that we need, and now we're ready for setup. and this will be the next day. So it's it's almost like what I just learned, processing map. So with that would be one of the process that we take with having a huge festival. We have our setup days, then we have our loading days, then it would be set up for the festival.
Okay.
And then it would go into the actual festival within itself. So it is a process. We have steps that we have to take. And once we get to that day, I won't even say I'm nervous. I actually enjoy doing what I do. So I may get up, throw on some makeup, because I may want to do some content. Um, and I'm big on kind of showing my followers what it is that we're doing, what we're going through.
Okay.
And I'll start to go live and explain, what happened, if mistakes were made, how can we fix them. Sometimes we can't fix them; it's out of our control. Make sure that my team is ready to go, and once everybody get there, we have to start prepping. Everyone has their role. So if you're prepping, if you're on prep, you may be on sauces, where now we have these huge containers that we just fill up with a whole bunch of sauce. Someone else may be on display, where they have to go out and make sure that all the linen is put down, nothing looks crazy, all the signs and everything are up. The prices are on the display boards. Make sure those are scattered around the festival. And then I have my, what would I call him? He's a manager. So he's an operating manager. So I have to have one of those. If not, I will go insane.
So I was gonna say that it seems like you have to, your team. Everyone has a set role that they have to play,
Yes.
and it's important
Yes.
that everybody understand what their role is.
Yes, especially my operating manager. Like, if they have a problem, go to him. Unless you're in the truck cooking with me, I don't mind solving a problem real quick. But other than that, anything that's outside of my unit, no, I don't. I don't want to hear it. Customers have them go to him. I don't want to, because it gets, I won't say frustrating, but overwhelmed inside of the trailer when we're cooking for huge festivals,
Okay.
because the orders are coming in left to right. 5 on one ticket. The next ticket may be 7. The next ticket may jump back to 5. It's never really going down to 1. And when it go down to 1, it's like, we already got 15, 20 orders to push out before this one. So it gets a little overwhelming.
So what are some of the in terms of like customers, right? Give me a story or that you can remember of like how you may have like a customer that wasn't, I guess, satisfied with us. I mean, I wouldn't say satisfied. Like, how do you handle difficult customers in such an environment that could be so overwhelming?
Okay, so most of my overwhelmed environments would be the huge festival. Prime example, I have one example. The cashier who was taking the order, he ended up writing down the wrong thing on the receipt. So instead of it being 2 combos, he made it into 1 combo with 2 meats. So that's exactly how we plated it. And no one came back and told me anything until she came back maybe like 3 hours later.
Okay.
So they say, hey, it was a mistake that was made. The lady just came back. I said, well, what do you mean she came back? They're like, oh, she just came back. I asked her, oh, I'm sorry, we made a mistake. You said it was supposed to be 2 plates. Do you want me to fix it real quick? She was like, no, it's fine, it's okay. And she said, okay, if you have any problems, just come back. So obviously she came back 3 hours later. Mind you, this particular plate was almost $50. So she wanted me to make the same plate again. I did the calculation in my head really quick. No, that's not adding up. So I said, okay, hey, where is the operating manager? Where is he? It was out, he's on break. I'm like, oh no. I'm trying to woosah now because maybe I have to talk to them. And when I get like that, I don't really like to deal with the customers because I don't want them to see me like that. I'm in a whole nother zone. I'm in my chef zone real right now. I don't want to deal with it. So I quickly thought of a solution. Hey, I called the cashier back. He's great with customer service. Sometimes maybe I will have to tell him what to say, but other than that, he's phenomenal. Hey, what happened? He explained to me I messed up. Okay, I understand you messed up. This is how we're gonna fix this. I won't be able to give her the same plate again. She didn't pay that much money. However, I would give her another plate, but she has to choose. She has to choose which protein.
Okay.
So figure out which plate that she wants, but let her know I cannot give her this same plate. So she ended up being okay with it. Most people would try to snap. She was like, no, she understood. And it's funny, she ordered the most expensive one though. But I'm like, okay, here go her plate. And matter of fact, go ahead and give her a drink on top of that, just for the inconvenience.
So you won her over with a drink.
Right.
That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So you said that I don't know if you said this before. What does your team consist of, right? In terms of who works for you. So how do you go through that whole process of like who you hire to work with you? Is there a process that you go through?
Um, we're creating the process now. As of so far, majority of my staff is family and friends. They've been there since I've started. I can honestly say most people would say, "Ooh, don't work with family," and I'm like, I beg to differ. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without the help of my family and friends, and they're still there to this day. For
That's
the ones
awesome.
that's full times and the ones that comes in, maybe for once or twice a week.
That's awesome. So your business consists of mostly your families and your friend, right? And thus far, you said it's been a great experience for you,
Yes.
right? So that's awesome. How do you go about, say, balancing, right, your work and your personal life, right? Because I don't know, do you have kids?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. I have to.
So you have two. How do you balance your work or running the food truck and your personal life?
Now it's a little bit more easier. At first, it was tough. Um, and it goes back before I started this company, I was able to work with my father and I was able to help expand his business. He needed some guidance. So I had to go in and change all the numbers, paperwork. Like I did a whole 360 on his rebrand. I just what I did. I rebranded his company for him. And my kids were young, so they were able to come to work with me. And that was easy until they got a little bit older. And it became a challenge because I couldn't be everywhere at one time. Like I felt like I was pulled left to
Like a
right,
tug of
front
war.
to back. Yes, like it was insane. And then my best friend told me, "Hey, learn how to utilize the people that's around you. If you need help, baby, we are not mind readers, okay? If you don't ask for it, we're not gonna give it to you." And I used to be scared to ask people for help because I felt like I could do it on my own. And right then and there, I was like, "Oh no, I can't do this on my own. I need some assistance. I need some help." And they started to help me. If I ask for assistance, no problem. If they can't do it, they can't do it, and I understand. But they were able to actually help with no problem, and I love that. Once we got the trailers, it became back difficult. Difficult, yeah, I would say, yeah, yeah. I had to figure out a solution, and once again I wanted to be the one to do everything. Oh, I'm going to do inventory because I don't want to pay nobody to do that. Nope, I'm going to go pay this person because I don't want to pay you to go drive over there and do that. Nope, nope, nope. I'm going to be there. Can't go out, guys. I have to work. I have to work because I don't want to pay nobody else any extra money. And I said to myself, I gotta stop doing it. I can't do this. I'm missing everything. My kids' performance. I can't do anything. It's bad enough that one of my oldest, she's in a band, and we're a vendor for that school. I can't see her perform because
You're
we're
working.
working, and we've been with that school for 8 years, so we have a name out there. And I'm like, so any other time I'm able to see her, I'm going. Even if I say, hey, y'all have to hold the fort down. I can't work today. They'll say, okay. But I have trained my team to be able to do that. Even with my oldest daughter, she goes on the truck and she works it well.
How do you choose what events to attend, and the events that you choose, does the food that you prepare, the cuisine that you have, does it differentiate for different events?
Yes and no. I
Okay.
really try not to change up my menu
Okay.
because when people are trying to follow my truck, I want them to know these are the items that we sell. So every time they come looking for us, we have these items. Versus us trying to change up our menu every time we go out or depending on the season, I try to just stick with one thing. And it depends on the festival if I itemize the menu. So that's something I may do.
Okay.
If the festival is huge and I know that it's going to be 10,000 plus people, I may itemize the menu just to make it a little bit easier for us to be able to push the food out faster because I'm always trying to beat that time. We try to have the food out no longer than 10 minutes. We try our hardest. 10 minutes top, we trying to get them in and out.
What's the customer favorite thing on your menu? Fresh conch or the fried conch? Does
All of it. Conch. Conch is our number one seller. If I don't have anything else, I have to have conch.
Okay. All right. So conch all day.
Yes, fried conch, conch fritters. We do two types. We do the conch balls, and we have this long way conch fritter and conch salad. We also do dressed conch. So I'm
Okay.
even thinking about adding a conch burger. Most people is like, no, no, you're good where you at. But we sell a lot of conch.
Okay. And I know you say that you do a lot of events, right? Outside of doing events, because I know sometimes events are not happening every year. Outside of that, what else do you do in terms of like to bring in income?
So we follow the seasons. First, let me say we partner with different nonprofit organizations. I have a few that I work with, and throughout the year, so we bounce around between track season,
Okay.
football season. They may have a basketball game and say, hey, we need you to come out. This is going to be a huge basketball game. I also try to make sure that people are aware that, hey, don't call us out just to make your event festive. Like you want it to look like, oh, this is going to be an event. No, because you may end up wasting my time, my company time, and I don't want to go through that. So we right now we're in track season. Between Jazz in the Gardens, we did a Homestead Seafood Festival. That was March. Then Jazz in the Gardens, but and Be Out Day. We're right back into track season.
I guess you collaborate with different schools.
We work with schools as well.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So we have almost like Boys and Girls Clubs, PALs, and we have the schools that we work with as well.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about your growth plan for this business, right? Are you trying to franchise? Are you trying to open up a restaurant, a brick and mortar? What does that look like for you?
One of my dreams is to open up a brick and mortar.
Okay.
My family is like real excited for me to open a restaurant, a lounge. They want me to open something, but that is my dream to have a restaurant. And I can start off as a takeout. That's fine, but eventually I want to grow into a sit down restaurant where it can turn into a lounge.
Is there any plans, right, too, in the near future of adding, I would say, to your menu? Is there like any products that you're trying to like sell, or there's any products outside of the just the food truck? Is there any products that you're trying to incorporate to help your business expand?
So it's funny that you say that. My next goal before the restaurant, my next goal is actually creating our seasoning line. For those of you who don't know, we use one seasoning on our truck.
That's it.
One. I mix it, and we use this one seasoning to make our sauces, to top our fries, to season our seafood, to season our chicken. One seasoning to top our conch salad. And people, they be so surprised when I say that. My sister, so you don't use Obey? No. What? You don't use Obey on seafood? No. She's like, whatever you doing, just keep doing it because it tastes so good.
It's working because it's bringing you have a. How do you? All right, then you have this one season that season everything. How do you build your client base? Like, I'm sure you have a following, right?
Yes, yes. We have a following, especially when we go to different events. People see our truck, they already know what to expect. So I think gaining more followers was easier because we're a food vendor, right? We have to go to different festivals and different events and set up. So I just feel like we were able to kind of attract a diverse crowd, where now we're able to meet new people every time we set up. And I actually love that.
I was gonna say this, like I follow you on Instagram, right? And I was looking at your page and I noticed that there was this long line of people that was at the what was it? At the Jazz in the Garden. Like and I
Yes.
was amazed. Like did you bring any food for us to try today?
I'm sorry, I did not bring
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. But I was amazed to see how much people were in line, right? So which tells me that they're familiar with your food, right? Tell me one thing that you would not compromise about how you, I don't know if it's how you prepare the food, one thing that you won't compromise ever.
the preparation of our conch.
Okay.
I could never. Because I actually believe that's what sets us aside from our competition. Everyone else, they prepare conch the lazy way.
Do you want to like dive in and tell me like just tell us how you prepared? Like
I mean, it's no secret. So yes, we get it tenderized, but we also hand tenderize our conch as well.
okay, what does that mean?
We actually beat it down ourselves. And so many people like, oh, you don't get it tender. No, we do get it tenderized, but we still beat it down. Most companies, they don't know. They're gonna get it tenderized, and that's how they're gonna prepare it.
Okay. All right, cool. So you getting tenderized conch. I've never actually thought about that, but that's really, really great, right?
Because conch is so tough.
It is. It is.
And
But I
when you
never
cook,
thought.
when you cook it, it toughens right back up. So if you don't prep it the correct way, it's gonna be rubbery. You're gonna be pulling for days.
All right. Good, good, good. Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years, girl. That restaurant. It would be the restaurant, most definitely. It would be the restaurant.
The restaurant?
Yes, and I I want to start my own like cooking channel, so I can actually teach. I can teach people how to use the seasoning properly.
Cool. So we're gonna see like another what is that? Chef.
Right? Like a Chef Ramsay.
Chef Ramsay, like Chef Ramsay. That would be
Yes,
great.
yes,
That would be
yes.
great. That would be great.
Bobby
That would be,
Flay, yes. I watch them. I love
Yeah.
the cooking channel, yes.
that would be great.
And Food
What is one of the biggest misconception that you were told or that you've heard about owning your own business?
That is easy.
Talk about that.
I guess because when when they notice that you are doing great and they see how successful or they think how successful you are, because they may come to an event and say, oh my God, this line, and not know that, hey, I could have had a bad month this month. You don't even know that. You just seeing this. And then you have those that probably really watches me and say, oh, she's always busy. She always has a long line, and don't understand it's a lot of work. At times, my mind don't shut off. And I get in a bubble sometimes where I just have to go and just be to myself and woosah, because it's like my mind is always racing. The only time my mind would stop racing about the company is if I'm on vacation. And honestly, it has to be overseas, I swear. Because at this point, it's like, I can't do nothing. I'm here, you guys are there. It's out of my control. I can't do nothing. And sometimes being an entrepreneur, it gets stressful. We have those moments where, you know, we're sad, we're stressed, we're crying. We have those times. And even going through all of those times still made me who I am today. Because still to this day, like I said, I was in a bubble the other day. Like, I have those moments.
We all get those moments. How do you get out of the bubble?
I tell myself I gotta shake it off. Like you got this, girl. You gotta shake it off. Or maybe I'll speak to like one of my entrepreneur friends, and like it was just so funny today. I was just telling them, I was like, oh my God, I need a vacation. I said I was teary eyed yesterday. I was in my bubble, and she said, you know what the funniest thing? I don't really mention this to anybody, but I was too. And I said, sometimes I used to think that it was just me. And she was like, no. I think we all have these moments. At times, we just don't know how to express that we go through this. And I try to tell people, like, hey, I may make it look easy, but I'm telling you, what I do, it's a lot of work. It's not easy. I wish it was easy.
Right.
I would have no complaints. I probably would have 50 trucks. I probably would.
How many trucks do you have?
I have three.
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 Okay.
2 are mobile, and 1 is a stationary unit down in North Miami.
Okay. So the stationary unit, it's open year round?
The stationary unit is open Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
Typically, it may be closed on Saturday. So what we're doing right now, we're trying to pick up that fan base to go to the stationary location. I've learned events and being stationary is 2 different things. You have to build that. Building that type of fan base is totally different. You're getting people to learn. You're teaching people to learn where you're located, to learn how to love your food in that way, to make them say, "Oh, I'm gonna get up. I'm going to Popo's. I'll be right back. You want some?" So that's what we're trying to work on now. Most people enjoy us at festivals and events. When they see us, it's like, I'm gonna see them next week. I mean, I may not need to go to the station.
And what's your approach on getting people to go to that stationary location? What are some of the approach that you've been taking?
Sales,
Okay.
advertising. I'm big on advertising food influencers. So I will hire them to come out as well. I'm actually thinking about bringing back the sides for the stationary location.
Okay.
I kind of learned that people would rather a full course meals. Even though I'm still trying to figure out how McDonald's and Burger King and Raising Cane and all these places are doing so well with just selling fries, because I honestly speaking, I would rather do that. It's easier, it's quicker. It's we can push these orders in and out with no problems. We're making size, we just have to get up early. That's probably going to be another person that I have to put on payroll to just at least knock the size out and have it ready for the stationary.
All right. If someone wanted to start a food truck, what advice would you give them?
The number one advice I would give a person would be start off as a tent vendor, because if you can get through being a tent vendor, then it should be, I won't say a breeze, but you'll be able to get through being a food truck owner. It was more difficult being a tent vendor, just like I told you, like the tents flying, bugs and water and stuff getting inside your grease, the wind, oh my God, the wind. Sometimes it wasn't raining, the wind was just terrible. So yes, I will always give the advice: start off as a tent vendor and see if you still will want to be in this industry after doing that.
What would you tell 10-year-old Qualice? Like, what advice, like, where you are today? Like, if you had to go back and, like, give an advice to 10-year-old Qualice, what would that be?
Keep cooking. That's the time I learned how to make my first dish.
Really?
Yes.
Around 10?
Yes. I'm the first grand. I'm the oldest grand and the oldest child. So, yes. And from there, I just kept cooking.
I'm gonna ask some fun questions. All right. So, if you had to cook for one celebrity, who would that be?
It probably would be Bobby Flay
Why Bobby Flay?
because his recipes are fun.
Okay.
He comes up with different things. It's another guy that I'm thinking of. His name is on the tip of my tongue. He deals with a lot of burgers though. Oh my gosh, I can't think of him, but him as well. Him as well. Their recipes to me are fun, and I like to when I go in the kitchen. Sometimes I just like to play around with stuff and have my family be my test dummies. Like I always do that. Like, hey, come over. I'm finna cook. They come. Oh, this was good. Check. Thank you. I think you should add my 9-year-old. Oh my gosh, that one right there. She is a test taker for you. She wants to test everything, and she's gonna let
That's
you know that
good.
it's missing something. She may even tell you what is missing. If I put too much garlic in something, she gonna say, "Oh no, mommy, this has too much garlic. You need to fix that." Like,
That's good.
so I love that. Yes.
So Bobby Flay would be your celebrity that you cook for. All right. So tell me what's the weirdest or wildest request that you've ever had from a client or a customer? I mean, granted that your menu's like already it's made, right? Because they know, but I'm sure you must have one experience or a moment some customer came and asked you like for the wildest request.
I had this one customer, and because I used to bake, that was originally the first business. Her request, it was a lengthy list of items that she wanted me to prepare, right? And I can honestly say today, I probably didn't know how to make 4 of those things in the menu, and I was like, yes, I got it, girl. I got this, I got this. And my sister was like, you don't know how to make that. What did you tell a lady you know how to make maple glazed Brussels sprouts? You don't even eat that. And I'm like, I got it. I'm gonna figure this out. And she asked me for bean casserole. Never made bean casserole in my life. And I'm like, I'm gonna learn today. And she wanted me to stuff these turkey wings. Never stuffed a turkey wing. And I'm like, nope. I'm gonna learn today. I'm gonna learn. And her family and friends loved it.
That's awesome.
She still books me to this day. If she could book me for Thanksgiving, because back then it was every Thanksgiving.
All right. What about on the food truck? Have you had a customer come like tell me like maybe the funniest experience, right, that you had with a customer?
His nickname is Black Knight. So
I wouldn't even ask. Black Knight.
yes. His real name is Malachi, but his nickname is Black Knight. And it now is to a point where my staff already really knows what he wants. So he'll call me and say, hey, can you tell them to make the Black Knight special? I said, Black Knight special? Well, when did this happen? He was like, don't worry about it. They know. So I called and say, hey, Malachi called. Oh, we already know what he wants. And it's so weird because he don't eat a lot, but he wants a little bit of everything. So just imagine, give me one chicken, and he asked me, can you do a half of a lobster tail? No, I can't do a half of a lobster tail. What? No. Okay, give me a few pieces of shrimp, make it like 3. And then he's like, oh, you got fish over there? Can you put 1 piece of fish over there too? And a little bit of conch. And you sure you still can't cut that lobster tail in half for me? No, I am positive I cannot do this for you.
So do you have a special price for him?
Right. Do I have a special? It got to be a special price for him.
And you probably should put that on the menu.
And he asked me this weekend. He actually asked me, last week, and he said, can you do the Black Knight special for me? I looked at him. You serious, son? He's like, I'm very serious. 1 chicken, 3 pieces of shrimp. Like, who eats this? He was like, we gonna see. I said, okay. I may need to create that for him.
You probably do need to create that for him and come up with the price and have it on. Next time when I come to your food truck, I'm gonna ask for that because I'm gonna try a little bit of everything. He's smart.
Right? It's almost like a sampler plate,
It's a
right?
that's exactly what that is. That's a sampler plate. That's smart. See, he onto something.
I thought he just wanted his name out there. He's trying to brand his company through my company.
He's onto something. Listen, this has been great getting to know you, right? I've learned so much about you. I think your brother will be extremely proud. I think you'll be extremely proud. One of the things that I learned from you that getting your people to support you, right? Is, and I say that again, it says a lot about you to get your family and friends to support you because you don't find that a lot, right?
Right.
You don't find that a lot. So, thank you for coming on. This was so much insight. Sure, you shared a lot of gems. People out there that are watching, and it was. I'm forever gratitude. I'm grateful that you came on.
No problem. Thank
Okay.
you once again for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. Thank you. I want you to go ahead and tell the audience where they can find you, where they can find you next, right? Let's talk right into the camera and go ahead and tell them.
So you guys could find my company. First of all, we have a stationery in Nomi Village. It's on 123rd, 51 Northwest 7th Avenue, inside of a lot where you see all the food trucks. Look for Popos. Also, find us at your next event or huge festival, okay?
All right. Do you have like a Instagram?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so with our Instagram, it's Popo's Seafood. Once again, it's Popo's with an S, Seafood, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
All right. Qualice, again, I'm grateful that you came on and thank you again.
Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. That will bring us to the end of this episode. I want you to like, share, and subscribe, right? Please tell all your friends and family if you like the content that we're providing to you. Again, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you, and see you next week.